etc. Yani end of thinking capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, Gen Z in my village are very hardworking, creative and self-directed. But there was a problem. No one believed in them. No one gave them an opportunity to showcase their abilities. Jobs are given to retired men and women. Imagine Mr. Adjudicator, a 75-year-old grandpa appointed to give you the affairs. What a blame. Ladies and gentlemen, kwani mmeboeka?
Hapana.
This is just at the beginning. Jobs are advertised on newspapers, written free and fair. But things on the ground were different. They say, mambo kwa ground ni tofauti. To get a police job in Kaongo village, you are to bribe with 500,000 Kenyan shillings. Mr. Adjudicator and my audience. Just imagine. It really had to break my heart. I cried. And when I finished crying, I started crying again.
Inauma lakini itazoea. Inauma lakini itazoea.
Ladies and gentlemen, hospitals in Congo village are just buildings. No medicine, no enough doctors. Patients were dying due to negligence. The doctors were poorly paid and unmotivated. Hospitals' materials were in bad state. Yet on the other hand, politicians in Congo village were living and sleeping in riches. Endless benchmarking trips with no impact on common management. Imagine, a governor spending 82 million, yet patients are dying every day like chickens. Ladies and gentlemen, SHA was not working despite employees paying monthly contribution. What was wrong with NHIF? Billions were lost, migrating from NHIF to SHIF, and millions in displaced priorities. Those in power saw the unemployed youth as a threat in their flashy lifestyles. As they say, God for us all, every man for himself. My audience, things are going from bad to worse. My village mates were forced to pay housing levy, yet the court ruled it was unconstitutional. Justice was for the rich. My people paid for housing levy only for the king to sell back to them at exorbitant prices. Ladies and gentlemen, the king had no mercy for critics. A little post on Twitter could make you visit your maker before your time. My late brother Albert Ojwang was abducted and killed because of a single post, asking civil servants to be accountable. Many were killed and maimed for the quest of transparency and open governance. Ladies and gentlemen, NSSF was high, pay as you earn was high, housing levy was high, pay as you earn was high, yet no development. Politicians are drooling with the populace, giving 200 shillings and handouts in the name of economic empowerment. No policies or political movement to end the cancer of corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, my dream of a better village were doomed. Ladies and gentlemen, my dreams of a better village were doomed. Politics were order of the day from one election to another. Vision 2030 was just a dream to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of building factories to end unemployment, millions were given every Sunday in churches to seek sympathy. No lifestyle habits. The ruling class normalized corruption. Every public project was every public project was a way of them participation in independent elections. Ladies and gentlemen, youth agree to be opinion makers and not bystanders. Never again be misused by the ruling class or get handouts. Youth decided to put Ladies and gentlemen, youth agreed to be opinion makers and not bystanders. Never again be misused by the ruling class or giving handouts. Youth is now or never. Let's rescue Congo village from the grip of heartless hyenas. Public resources to be used efficiently. Public servants to be accountable. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be here next year, same time, same place, to check if Congo village is doing well. Development is a right, not a favor. Let's say no to corruption. Corruption kills the dreams of the youth. Corruption kills the economy. Corruption kills education, kills the system. It's a collective responsibility. Let's say no to corruption. Make our village great again. Say no to corruption. St. Augustine.